Welcome to Molly's Midsummer from Stockholm harbour. Bloomsday began in a Martello tower on Dublin Bay, and we thought where better than Stockholm harbour for our celebration of Ulysses. There may be no mail boats from Dunleary passing by, but we'll no doubt see plenty of activity on the water today. In true Irish style, the weather outlook is variable, but we still hope for some warm sunshine, merrying over the sea as Joyce described at the start of Ulysses. We have a medley of readings as well as traditional music, and no doubt good Irish humour or crack, as we say, to accompany the journey today. Välkommen on board.
Hej och välkomna till Molly's Midsummer. On behalf of the Embassy of Ireland in Stockholm, we are delighted to bring you a selection of musical and dramatic performances to mark Bloomsday and Midsummer together. Bloomsday is a celebration of the work of the Irish literary giant James Joyce and is celebrated on the 16th of June each year. The 16th of June is the day on which his entire novel Ulysses takes place in the city of Dublin, and is also said to be the day on which James Joyce fell in love with his wife Nora Barnacle. James Joyce first met Nora Barnacle in 1904 near the hotel where Nora worked. Nora first thought that Joyce was a Swedish sailor due to his blue eyes and the yachting cap he was wearing. They agreed to go on a date on the 14th of June, although Nora never actually turned up. They finally met on the 16th of June, and the date has become one in history. It is said that the character of Molly Bloom, an opera singer, is very much inspired by Nora Barnacle. In episode 18, the last section of Ulysses, Molly presents her celebrated soliloquy, one of the most famous dramatic monologues in literature.
Midsummer welcomes summertime and is one of the oldest and most important celebrations in Sweden. It is always marked on a Friday in June, close to the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. Swedes leave the cities and head for the countryside to mark the occasion together with family and friends. According to Swedish tradition, you should pick 7 different flowers on midsummer and put them underneath your pillow to dream about your future partner. Music, dance, and an outdoor feast of Swedish delicacies are the order of the day, followed by the occasional snaps, of course. If invited to a Swedish midsummer party, you may find yourself singing snapsvisor and other songs about small frogs while dancing or hopping around a decorated maypole, Midsommarsången. Many Swedes make their own flower wreaths and wear them on their heads until the early hours of the following morning. And who could blame them, as the sun barely sets at all.
Today we bring you a true celebration of Irish and Swedish culture. We have Swedish band Quilty with us, as well as guests from Spuds and Sill Drama Society and the James Joyce Society of Sweden and Finland, who will bring Joyce's words to life. With Molly Bloom's musical profession, and Joyce himself being musical also, Nora used to say that he would have had a better career if he had stuck to singing, we feel it's fitting to bring music and literature together, and we are delighted to present Molly's Midsummer.
Välkomna till vårt firande. Önskar er en riktigt glad midsommar.
Winnig tatna vas an taspáanta seo ó príomhchathair na súlanna, lá féile óan honadíobh go léir.
His gaze brooded on his broad-toed boots, a buck's cast-offs, neben einander. He counted the creases of tucked leather wherein another's foot had nested warm. The foot that beat the ground in tripudium. Foot I dislove. But you were delighted when Esther Oswald's shoe went on you. Girl I knew in Paris. Tiens, quel petit pied. Staunch friend, a brother soul. Wild's love that dare not speak its name. He now will leave me. And the blame? As I am. All or not at all. Under the upswelling tide, he saw the writhing weeds lift languidly and sway reluctant arms, hising up their petticoats in whispering water, swaying and upturning coy silver fronds. Day by day, night by night, lifted, flooded, and let fall. Lord, they are weary, and whispered to, they sigh. Weary too in sight of lovers, lascivious men, a naked woman shining in her courts, she draws a toil of waters. 5 fathoms out there, full fathom 5 thy father lies. At one, he said, found drowned. High water at Dublin Bar, driving before it a loose drift of rubble, fan shoals of fishes, silly shells. A corpse rising salt white from the undertow, bobbing landward, a pace, a porpoise. There he is. Hook it quick. Sunk though he be beneath the watery floor, we have him. Easy now. Bag of corpse gas sopping in foul brine. A quiver of minnows, fat of a spongy titbit, flash through the slits of his buttoned trouser fly. God becomes man, becomes fish, becomes barnacle. Goose becomes featherbed mountain. Dead breaths, I, living, breathe. Tread dead dust. Devour a urinous offal from all dead. Haul stark over the gunwale, he breathes upward the stench of the green grave, his leprous noseholes snoring to the sun. A sea change this, brown eyes, salt blue. Sea death, mildest death of all deaths known to man. Old Father Ocean, Prix de Paris, beware of imitations. Just you give it a fair trial. We enjoyed ourselves immensely. Come, I thirst. Clouding over? No black clouds anywhere, are there? No. My cockle hat and staff, and this is my sandal shoon. Where? To evening lands. Evening will find itself. He took the hilt of his ash plant, lunging with it, softly, dallying still. Yes, evening will find itself in me, without me. All days make their end. By the way, next when is it? Tuesday will be the longest day. Of all the glad New Year, mother, the rum-tum tiddly-tum, for the old hag with the yellow teeth. My teeth are very bad. Why, I wonder? Feel. That one's going too. Shells. Would I go to a dentist, I wonder, with that money? That one. Toothless Kinch, the Superman. Why is that, I wonder? Or does it mean something, perhaps? My handkerchief. He threw it. Did I not take it up? His hand groped vainly in his pockets. No, I didn't. Better buy one. He laid the dry snot carefully on a ledge of rock. For the rest, let look who will. Behind, perhaps there's someone. He turned his face over a shoulder, rear regardant. Moving through the air, high spars of a three-master, the sails brailed up on the cross trees, homing, upstream, silently moving, a silent ship.
Well, hi everybody. We're the band Quilty, and we're very honored and very happy to be invited by the Irish Embassy to play a few songs for you at Molly's Midsummer. So we simply start off with our first tune, a song that is called, what's it called? Lady Leroy, actually. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. As I went walking one morning in May, viewing wildflowers all nature seemed gay, I spied a young couple on Erin's green shore. They were viewing the ocean where the wild billows roll. Well, he says, pretty Polly, you're the girl I adore. To be parted from you, well, it grieves me heart sore. Your parents are rich, love, and angry with me. Oh, and if I tarry with you, a ruin will be. Then she dressed herself up in a suit of men's clothes, and to her old father she immediately goes. She purchased a ship and laid down the demand. It was little he knew, 'twas from his own daughter's hands. She went back to her true love, and this she did say, hurry up, lovely Johnny, we've no time to stay. They hoisted the topsails and they rode with joy, and away o'er the ocean sailed Lady Leroy. When the father found out how he cursed and did swear, and he sent for his captain and bade him prepare, he spied a fair vessel with colours let fly, and he hailed her and found she was the Lady Leroy. Then he's bid and returned to old Ireland once more, or broadside and broadside upon them would pour. This brave Irish hero has made this reply, we will never surrender, we will conquer or die. Then it's broadside and broadside on each other they pour, and it's louder and louder the cannons did roar. This brave Irish hero has made this decree, oh hurrah for true lovers, they will always run free. They landed in Boston, that city of fame. Of the other ship's commander I mention no name. Here's a health to pretty Polly, long may she enjoy her proudest of lovers, and the Lady Leroy.
Here's a set of jigs for you now, 3 jigs, and the first one is called Out on the Ocean.
over to Kim Forsch from the James Joyce Society of Sweden and Finland, who's reading from Nausicaa.
The summer evening had begun to fold the world in its mysterious embrace. Far away in the west, the sun was setting, and the last glow of all too fleeting day lingered lovingly on sea and strand. On the proud promontory of dear old Hove, guarding as ever the waters of a bay, on the weed-grown locks along sandy mount shore, and last but not least, on the quiet church, hence there streamed forth at times upon the stillness the voice of prayer to her who is in her pure radiance a beacon ever to the storm-tossed heart of man, Mary, star of the sea. The three girlfriends were seated on the rocks, enjoying the evening scene and the air, which was fresh but not too chilly. Many a time and oft were they wont to come there, to that favourite nook, to have a cosy chat beside the sparkling waves and discuss matters feminine. Sissy Caffrey and Eddie Boardman with the baby in the push car, and Tommy and Jackie Caffrey. Two little curly-headed boys, dressed in sailor suits, with caps to match, and the name HMS Belle-Isle printed on both. For Tommy and Caffrey, Jackie, they were twins, scarce 4 years old, and very noisy, and spoiled twins sometimes, but for all that, darling little fellows, with bright merry faces and endearing ways about them. They were dabbling in the sand with their spades and buckets, building castles, as children do, or playing with a big coloured ball, happy as the day was long. And Eddie Boardman was rocking the chubby baby to and fro in the push car, while that young gentleman fairly chuckled with delight. He was but 11 months and 9 days old, and though still a tiny toddler, he was just beginning to lisp his first babyish words. Sissy Caffrey bent over him to tease his fat little plucks and the dainty dimple in his chin. "Now, baby," Sissy Caffrey said, "say out big, big, I want a drink of water." And baby prattled after it, "A jink, a jaboo." Sissy Caffrey cuddled the wee chap, for she was awfully fond of children, so patient with little sufferers, and Tommy Caffrey could never be got to take his castor oil unless it was Sissy Caffrey who that held his nose and promised him the scatty heel of a loaf or brown bread with golden syrup on. What a persuasive power that girl had. But to be sure, baby Boardman was as good as gold, a perfect little dote in his new fancy bib. None of your spoilt beauties, Flora McFlimsy sort, was Sissy Caffrey. A truer-hearted lass never drew the breath of life, always with a laugh in her gypsy-like eyes and a frolicsome word on her cherry-ripe red lips. A girl lovable in the extreme. And Eddie Boardman laughed too at the quaint language of little brother. But just then there was a slight altercation between Master Tommy and Master Jackie. Boys will be boys, and our two twins were no exception to this golden rule. The apple of discord was a certain castle of sand, which Master Jackie had built, and Master Tommy would have it right go wrong that it was to be architecturally improved by a front door, like the Martello Tower had. But if Master Tommy was headstrong, Master Jackie was self-willed too. And, true to the maxim that every little Irish man's house is his castle, he fell upon his hated rival, and to such purpose that the would-be assailant came to grief, and, alas to relate, the coveted castle too.
They sailed away on that gallant bark, Roy Neal and his fair young bride. They had ventured on that bounding ship that danced on the silvery tide. His heart was young and his spirit light as he kissed her tears away. And they watched the shore retreat from sight of their own sweet Dublin Bay. 3 days they sailed when the storm arose and the lightning swept the deep. And the thunder clash broke the short repose of the weary sailor's sleep. Roy Neal he clasped his weeping bride and he swept their tears away, saying that was a fearful hour, he cried, when we left sweet Dublin Bay. On the crowded deck of that doomed ship, some fell into deep despair, and some are come with a holier heart, sought the God of the storm in prayer. She struck a rock, the sailors cried in their breath a wild dismay, and that ship went down with a fair young bride that sailed from Dublin Bay. They sailed away on that gallant bark, Roy Neal and his fair young bride. They had ventured on that bounding ship that danced on the silvery tide. His heart was young and his spirit light as he kissed her tears away. And they watched the shore retreat from sight of their own sweet Dublin Bay.
And now from Spuds and Sill, Mark Ennis reading Cyclops.
I was just passing the time of day with old Troy of the DMP at the corner of Harbour Hill there, and be damned but a bloody sweep came along and near drove his gear into my eye. I turned around to let him have the weight of my tongue when who should I see dodging along old Stony Batter, only Joe Hines. "Lo, Joe," says I, "how you doing?" "Did you see that bloody chimney sweep? Near shoved my eye out with his brush." "Such luck," says Joe. "Who's the old bollocks you were talking to?" "Old Troy," says I, "was in the force. I'm in 2 minds not to give that fellow in charge for obstructing the thoroughfare with his brooms and ladders." "What are you doing around these parts?" says Joe. "Devil a much," says I. "There's a bloody big foxy thief beyond the garrison church at the corner of Chicken Lane. Old Troy was just giving me the wrinkle about him. Lifted any god's quantity of tea and sugar to pay 3 bob a week. Said he had a farm in the county down off the hop of my thumb by the name of Moses Herzog, over there near Heytesbury Street." "Circumcised," says Joe. Says I, "a bit off the top. An old plumber named Geraghey. I'm hanging on to his thaw now for the past fortnight, and I can't get a penny out of him." "That the lay you're on now?" says Joe. Says I, how the mighty have fallen, collector of bad and doubtful depths. But that's the most notorious bloody robber you'd meet in a day's walk, and a face on him, all full of potch marks, would hold a shower of rain. Tell him, says he, I dare him, says he, and I double dare him to send you around here again, or if he does, says he, I'll have him summons up before the court, so I will, for trading without a licence. And he, after stuffing himself till he's fit to burst, Jesus, I had to laugh at the little Jewy getting the shirt out. He drink me my teas, he eat me my sugars, because he pay me no monies. For non-perishable goods bought of Moses Herzog of 13 St. Kevin's Parade in the city of Dublin, Woodquay Ward, merchant, hereinafter called a vendor, and sold and delivered to Michael E. Geraghey Esquire of 29 Arba Hill in the city of Dublin, Arrankey Ward. Gentleman, hereinafter called a purchaser, Vide listed £5 avoir du poit of first choice tea at 3 shillings and no pence per pound, avoir du poit, and 3 stone avoir du poit of sugar, crushed crystal, at 3 pence per pound, avoir du poit. The said purchaser debtor to the said vendor of £1, 5 shillings and 6 pence sterling for value received, which amount shall be paid by said purchaser to said vendor in weekly instalments every 7 calendar days of 3 shillings and no pence sterling, and the said non-perishable goods shall not be pawned or pledged or otherwise alienated by the said purchaser, but shall be and remain to be held to be the sole and exclusive property of the said vendor, to be disposed of at his good will and pleasure until said amount shall have been duly paid by said purchaser to said vendor in the manner herein set forth as this day hereby agreed between the said vendor, his heirs, successors and trustees, and assigns of the one part, and said purchaser, his heirs, successors and trustees, assigns of the other part. Are you strictly TT, says Joe. Not taking that in between drinks, says I. What about paying her respects to her friend, says Joe. Who, says I. Ah, sure, he's in John of God's off his head, poor man. Drinking his own stuff, says Joe. Ah, says I, whiskey and water on the brain. Come around to Barney Kiernan, says Joe. I want to see the citizen. Barney Maverine, be it, says I. Anything strange or wonderful, Joe? Not a word, says Joe. I was up at the meeting in the City Arms. What was that, Joe, says I. Cattle traders, says Joe. About the foot and mouth as is. I want to give the citizen the hard word about it. So we went around by the Linen Hall barracks and the back of the courthouse, talking about one thing or another. Decent fellow, Joe, when he has it, but sure, like, he never has it. I couldn't get over that bloody Foxy Geraghey, the daylight robber, for trading without a licence, says he. In Inishvale the fair lies the land of holy mission. There rises a watchtower, beheld of men afar. There sleep the mighty dead, as in life they slept, warriors and princes of high renown. A pleasant land it is, ensued of murmuring waters, fishful streams, where sport the gunard, the plaice, the roach, the halibut, the jibbed haddock, the grilse, the dab, the brill, the flounder, the pollock, the mixed coarse fish generally, and other denizens of the aqueous kingdom, too numerous to be enumerated. In the mild breezes of the west and of the east, the lofty trees wave in different directions, their first-class foliage, the wafty sycamore, the Lebanonian cedar, the exalted plane tree, the eugenic eucalyptus, and other ornaments of the arboreal world with which that region is thoroughly well supplied. Lovely maidens sit in close proximity to the roots of the lovely trees, singing the most lovely songs while they play all lovely objects, for example, golden inglets, silvery fishes, crans of herrings, draughts of eels, codlings, creels of fingerlings, purple sea gems, and playful insects. And heroes voyage from afar to woo them, from Eblana the Slieve Margie, the peerless, princes of unfettered Munster, and of Connacht the just, and of smooth sleek Leinster, and of Cruin's land, and of Armagh the splendid, and the noble district of Boyle, princes, the sons of kings. And there rises a shining palace whose crystal glittering roof is seen by mariners who travel the extensive sea in barks built expressively for that purpose. And thither come all herds and fatlings and first fruits to that land, for O'Connor Fitzsimmons takes toll of them all, a chieftain descended from chieftains. Thither the extremely large wains bring foisons of the fields, flaskets of cauliflowers, floats of spinach, pineapple chunks, Rangoon beans, strikes of tomatoes, druns of figs, drills of swede, spherical potatoes, and tallies of iridescent kale, York and Savoy, and trays of onions, pearls of the earth, and punnets of mushrooms, and custard marrows, and fat fetches, and beer, and rape, and red, green, brown, russet, sweet, big, bitter, ripe pommelled apples, and chips of strawberries, and sieves of gooseberries, pulpy and pelurious, and strawberries, fit for princes, and raspberries from their cranes. I dare him, says he, and I double dare him. Come out here, Gerry he, ye bloody Hillendale robber.
As I went a-walking one even so fair, between the summer to take the air, oh, I spied a female and a sailor by, and I stood to listen, and I stood to listen, to hear what they might say. Well, he says, young maid, why do you roam? Oh, all alone by yonder lea. Oh, she heaved a sigh, and the tears that roll for my dark-eyed sailor, for my dark-eyed sailor. He ploughs the stormy sea. Well, he says you can drive them from your mind, for another young man you surely will find. Love turns aside and it soon grows cold, like a winter's morning, like a winter's morning. The hills are white with snow. One half of the ring did young William show, and she ran distracted in grief and woe, saying, William, oh William, I have golden store for my dark-eyed sailor, for my dark-eyed sailor. He has come home again. A cottage by yonder lea, and the couple live there unto agree. So maids be true when your love's at sea, for a stormy morning, for a stormy morning brings
To finish off our readings for today, here is Deirdre Cronin Olsen with Molly Bloom's famous soliloquy.
"The sun shines for you," he said, "the day we were lying among the rhododendrons on Howth Head, in the grey tweed suit and his straw hat. The day I got him to propose to me. Yes. First I gave him the bit of seed cake out of my mouth. And it was a leap year, like now. Yes, 16 years ago. My God, after that long kiss, I near lost my breath. Yes, he said, I was a flower of the mountain. Yes. So we are flowers, all a woman's body. Yes. That was one true thing he said in his life, and the sun shines for you today. Yes. That was why I liked him, because I saw he understood or felt what a woman is. And I knew I could always get around him. And I gave him all the pleasure I could, leading him on, till he asked me to say yes. And I wouldn't answer first, only looked out over the sea and the sky. I was thinking of so many things he didn't know of. Mulvey and Mr. Stanhope, and Hester and Father, and old Captain Groves, and the sailors playing. All birds fly, and I say stoop. I'm washing up dishes, they called it on the pier, and the sentry in front of the governor's house, with the thing round his white helmet. Poor devil, half roasted. And the Spanish girls laughing in their shawls and their tall combs. And the auctions in the morning. The Greeks and the Jews and the Arabs and the devil knows who else from all the ends of Europe, and Duke Street and the Fowl Market, all clucking outside Larchy Sharon's. And the poor donkeys slipping half asleep. And the vague fellows in the cloaks, asleep in the shade on the steps, and the big wheels of the carts, of the bulls, and the old castle, thousands of years old. Yes, and those handsome Moors, all in white and turbans like kings, asking you to sit down in their little bit of a shop. And Rhonda, with the old windows of the posadas, glancing eyes, a lattice hid for her lover to kiss the iron, and the wine shops, half open at night, and the castanets, and the night we missed the boat at Algeciras. The watchman going about serene with his lamp, and, oh, that awful deep down torrent. Oh, and the sea crimson, sometimes like fire, and the glorious sunsets, and the fig trees in the Almada gardens. Yes. And all the queer little streets, and pink and blue and yellow houses, and the rose gardens, and the jasmine and geraniums and cactuses, and Gibraltar as a girl, where I was a flower of the mountain. Yes, when I put the rose in my hair, like the Andalusian girls used. Or shall I wear a red? Yes, and how he kissed me under the Moorish wall. And I thought, well, as well him as another. And then I asked him with my eyes to ask again. Yes. And then he asked me, would I say yes? Yes, my mountain flower. And first I put my arms round him, yes, and drew him down to me so he could feel my breasts, all perfume. Yes, and his heart was going like mad, and yes, I said, yes, I will, yes.
Our final piece of the day is Love's Old Sweet Song, performed by Patricia Crone and Philip Hale of the Spuds and Sill Theatre Group, accompanied by Quilty.
Once in the dear dead days beyond recall, when on the world the mist began to fall, out of our dreams that rose in happy throng, low to our hearts love sang an old sweet song. And in the dusk where fell the firelight's gleam, softly it wove itself into our dreams. Just a song at twilight, when the lights are low, and the flickering shadows softly come and go. Though the heart be weary, sad the day and long, still to us at twilight comes love's old song, comes love's old sweet song.
Even today we hear love's song of yore. Deep in our hearts it dwells forevermore. Footsteps may falter, weary grow the way, still we can hear it at the close of day. So to the end, when life's dim shadows fall, love will be found the sweetest song of all. Just a song at twilight, when the lights are low, and the flickering shadows softly come and go. Though the heart be weary, sad the day and long, still to us at twilight comes love's old song, comes love's old sweet song.
Though the heart be weary, sad the day and long, still to us at twilight comes love's old song, comes love's old sweet song.
Providing music for today is Swedish band Quilty, made up of Dag Westling, Esbjörn Hazelius and Staffan Lindfors.
That you all enjoyed the tour around Stockholm to mark Bloomsday in Sweden's Midsummer. It was a true medley of music, fun and chat, or ceol crackas kaint as we say in Irish. A suitable melange to celebrate James Joyce with traditional Irish music against a beautiful Stockholm backdrop. A big thanks or Gura Míl Mágaibh to the traditional music group Quilty, to the Spuds and Sill Theatre Group, to the James Joyce Society of Sweden and Finland, and Peter Berlinen and his videography team. Tack så mycket as well, of course, to our wonderful compares Maeve and Hanla. We hope to see at least some of you in person for future events organised by the Embassy of Ireland in Stockholm. Slán agus Vises.